Thank you, Mike Hill. Welcome to the Wells Fargo Center here in Philadelphia as the third-ranked team in the country, the Villanova Wildcats, take on the DePaul Blue Demons. Let's look at the up-to-date Big East standing. Xavier with another victory tonight, so no Villanova, a game and a half behind the Musketeers. As for DePaul, well, they're right there at the bottom along with probably the hottest team in the Big East, St. John's, who've won 4 straight, looking to make it 5 straight this evening. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Custer alongside Sarah Gustock. And listen, Nova's coming off that big win over Xavier over the weekend, and Jay Wright's got some bad news for the conference. He says his team is actually getting better and healthy. They get Phil Booth back in the lineup.
This is the first time that Jay Wright has been able to have his entire roster available since December 5th. Phil Booth, he said, looked excellent in practice yesterday, and the biggest boost that Booth brings is on the defensive end for Wright's club.
As for your alma mater, DePaul, Dave Leto says his squad is still trying to learn how to win those close games, but they've certainly played a lot more consistent over the past couple weeks.
They're figuring things out, and in these last 4 games, they had a big win at Providence, 17-point win. They had 2 losses by a point, a loss at Seton Hall by 5 points. So it is not a team that this Nova team can overlook.
Let's get right to the starting lineups. They're brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee. For the Blue Demons, well, it's all about Max Strus. He's their leading scorer, averages nearly 17 a game. That's 9th in the Big East. And as for Villanova, led by probably the National Player of the Year in Jalen Brunson, 6th in the conference in scoring. And how about Dante DiVincenzo getting his 8th straight start in place of Phil Booth, who'll come off the bench. Our officials for the evening, John Gaffney, Pat Driscoll, and Nathan Farrell. 34th meeting between Villanova and DePaul. The Wildcats with a 25-8 advantage in this series. It's the Blue Demons and the visiting Black who control the tip. This is Eli Kane, drives, left it short.
Aggressive out of the gates by DePaul, but you see the switching on the perimeter by Villanova makes it so tough for clean looks.
Brunson, the drive, left hand, yes.
Jalen Brunson's coming off of a game, that huge Xavier win. Brunson had just 11 points, but he does all the little things, setting the tone early for this Wildcat team.
Talk about Mr. Consistency. Played 37 minutes in that game, no turnovers. Here's a trap. Mars nearly turned it over to Strus. Misses the 3. Bridges grabs the board, and here comes the Wildcats in transition. DiVincenzo pulls. The tip, no. The Blue Demons control.
And that's an area where DePaul has to try and take an advantage on the glass.
Open 3 for Kane, in and out. Oh, boy. Is there a finer dressed man in college basketball than GQ Jay Wright?
I mean, he is just an incredible individual. What a pleasure visiting with him before the game, what he's done, the culture that he has built here at Villanova. After the shoot around, every single player walks over, shakes your hand, and he's not only creating excellent basketball players, but young men.
He is 3 victories away from being the all-time win leader at Villanova. He would tie the great Alexander Severance. He's basically 4 away from being #1 all time. Good backdoor cutting. Brunson lays it in.
It is amazing. You look at DiVincenzo with the feel he has for the game and the chemistry that those two have created with one another. Flawless step coming from that 6-man role for DiVincenzo into the starting lineup.
Strus knocks down the 3. Strus shoots 35% on the season from distance. He averages about 17 a game for DePaul. This is DiVincenzo. The kick out. Good ball fake, but he traveled.
Let's go back to Jalen Brunson. Now he's at the top of the key. Take a look at the eye contact between the 2 guards. Beautiful job, and just loses his defender in Cyrus. And that's where you can't get caught being on your feet and not being aware of where your man is. You can't just focus on the basketball.
Kane stepped into that 3, missed it. Dave Leto in his 2nd stint as head coach at DePaul. 3 years now into his second stint here. Inbound play, Strus pulls up, got it.
A great look for DePaul, seeing what Max Strus has come out and done right out of the gates, because David later talked about that. He said Strus has not been getting a lot of clean looks lately, and we need him to be the center point of our offense and have the ball in his hands, offense run through him. So early on, the Blue Demons are doing a good job of making sure that he is the one generating a lot of looks at the basket.
He is their go-to guy. He's got all 5 of the points, 1-point lead for DePaul, and Phil Booth has come to the scorer's table to check in. He has missed the last 7 games, breaking a bone in his right hand. It was against Providence back on January 23rd. They deal with a clock issue.
And when it comes to Phil Booth, I mean, you could look at the numbers with him, and of course, productivity on the offensive end, efficiency in his shooting from the field, from the 3-point range, but also defensively, what he brings. The glue guy that he is, more than anything, I've been watching the games when he's been out on the bench. He is vocal. He is talking to guys. He is another leader on this team that continues to bring them together. And there's a lot of young pieces for the Wildcats. Plenty of freshmen who are starting to hit their stride. We talked about this in the open, starting to figure things out. They've had an issue. I don't know what it is about the wrists or the hands here with the Villanova Wildcats, but nonetheless, it seems like guys are starting to figure out, but a big reason is guys like Brunson and Phil Booth bringing them along.
Talked about the clock issue, and all of a sudden you see there at the bottom of your screen, the clock just stopped at 17:07. They're trying to figure it out, get that thing rolling again. Booth was averaging nearly 12 a game, so 3 rebounds.
And that's what Jay Wright, he said he's interested to see how he comes along, because he looked at some of the other players that had come in, and, you know, whether it's Colin Gillespie, he said, you know, needed a couple games to come back. Samuels, you know, took him a little bit of time. He said Phil Booth don't look so good in practice. He said it looked like he hadn't missed a beat.
Yeah, broken hands seem to be the story of Villanova, not only with Booth, but Colin Gillespie and Jermaine Samuels. So you have 3 guys for this squad that had, and there's Samuels there. You can see it there. He still had the little soft protection on.
And he broke it when they were playing DePaul, their last DePaul game at Chicago. And Wright said Samuels things were starting to click, and he was coming around. And you know, sometimes it takes time your freshman year, not only adjusting to the speed of the game, but also scheme systems. He said it was just starting to come together.
Good round of applause for Phil Booth as he checks in. They set the clock at 16:59. You hear the chants of Booth. This is their best defender. Shooting nearly 50% from the field as well. 3 on the shot clock. Brunson turns, got it.
And that's what Brunson does. I mean, he turns into a driver. He gets so deep in the paint. He understands how to read his defender and just makes things look easy.
Offensive foul.
And watch Brunson, the awareness of the shot clock, how much time he has. Gets Cyrus to get back on his heels and then uses that spin move to create space. And it's those savvy moves. And he's a guy who, he's not necessarily the quickest player that you're going to see, but he understands angles and he understands how to break down his defender. 3 of 3 so far this game, all in the paint.
Here's Spellman, he walked. Took a step before he put it. Took a dribble. There's a turnover for Villanova. Amir Cosby Roundtree will check in. Spellman will have a seat. Two turnovers for the Wildcats thus far. Inside, McCallum got rid of Pascal, lays it in.
And that was some good ball movement and recognition by DePaul, because Villanova is switching everything. You can hear them calling the switches. They're communicating well on it. And a good read by DePaul to lose a man and find an easy basket.
Brunson with 10 on his shot clock. Booth, first shot from 3. Here comes Strus. Corner wide open shot from McCallum. He misses.
And a bullet pass by Eli Kane down to McCallum. Beautiful job losing the defender, and DePaul up by 1.
Big East basketball is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. We're in Philadelphia. DePaul with the early lead, 1-point lead over Villanova. Phil Booth back, and I tell you, Nova's had a Booth-ate in his absence.
Let's fix. They got a little Novocaine. They got a little shot here, but look at those numbers, and that is telling, because the way the defense changed in Phil Booth's absence and what he does, and we already saw him right out of the gates in this game. Who is he on? He's on Max Strus, and he's going to chase around the toughest perimeter player. And, you know, it didn't force as many turnovers. Other teams had cleaner looks, and that's where the value of a player is. And we know this Villanova team can score. They're a team that can score. They got 6 players shooting over 40% from 3, but the defensive end is really where we're going to see if this team can flourish and thrive and be that title contender that they expect to be.
DiVincenzo tripped up driving to the rack. Yeah, of course, Villanova, the top scoring team in the Big East, averaging 87 points a game. And conversely, DePaul, the lowest scoring team in the conference. They average about 73. They started 0 for 3. That foul's on Strus. Since they've gone 3 for 5. Brunson has all 6 of Villanova's points thus far, and a little push off, a little forearm shiver by DiVincenzo.
And a good job by DePaul. They're staying in front of their men, they're moving their feet, and they're making sure to take care of their individual assignments. And there's Strus, feet moving, hands up, and clearly a push off there by DiVincenzo. But that's what you got to do, is make them uncomfortable when they have the ball in their hands.
Over 3 turnovers here in their last 5 possessions. Maric, how about that move, up and under?
I tell you what, Marin Maric is showing such an ability to put the ball on the floor. His footwork has continued to improve. The graduate senior comes in and he does an excellent job just bringing in some experience, but also his ability to really produce on the offensive end, both facing up and with his back to the basket.
A great career at Northern Illinois. There's the drive, baseline by Mikal Bridges.
Maric, the big man, showing off some footwork. Mismatch, quick spin, going reverse underneath the basket, and then here just turning the corner and doing a fantastic job. Mikal Bridges, and he's a guy that I feel like we don't talk about it. There's so much talk about Phil Booth, about Jalen Brunson, what Bridges can do for this team. He comes off a game against Xavier. He had 25 points with 4 of 7 from 3. And he just keeps on getting better. And he's another guy on the defensive end. Long, lengthy, he's active.
Saul Maric picked up his 2nd personal, so he's going to have a seat. Paul Reed checks in as Cyrus knocks down the 12-footer.
Big time shot by Cyrus. As we saw there, Villanova putting on some pressure to try and speed up the DePaul offense, disrupt them, and Cyrus does a good job of getting inside to his range and to his spot to be able to knock down that shot.
6 minutes gone here in the first half. Booth cut off by Strus. 5 now on the shot clock. DiVincenzo drives, lays it in.
That's why Villanova is who they are, because you stopped their first option, their second option. You're making multiple efforts on the defensive end, but every player is a weapon and has the ability to run them off the 3-point line to get to the basket.
Nearly stolen. It is stolen by Pascal. He rocks the rim. Two-point lead, Nova. Strus, how about that? Off glass.
I mean, what a finish, but what a cut in the first place. Max Strus, he moves so well without the basketball. Credits to his teammates to have their eyes up, make that delivery. But you can see he is just constantly working to get himself open.
He's got 7. We're tied up at 13. Bridges down low. Draws the foul on McCallum.
Max Strus making an impact early, and you watch him here with the back cut. Beautiful play, tough shot. That's a tough contested shot. And Max Strus, he's what makes this team go, and he's a guy who needs to put up numbers if they want to stay with Villanova with such a scoring power. And so far, Strus has been impressive.
Got a little Dirk Nowitzki in it. Jump stop and came off that 1 foot.
You're right. A little bit of a fadeaway.
Uh-huh.
He moves a little, what do you think, a little quicker than Dirk?
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say so.
Doesn't have the height. No, Strus, he's got a quick trigger and a quick release with his shot, but also he's light off his feet.
Wholesale substitutions. Colin Gillespie is checked in. Bridges knocks down both free throws. He'll have a seat. Justin Roberts. Booth is having a seat as well. Justin Roberts, the freshman, is checked in for DePaul. He's running point.
He's some energy. He's a spark. You got to watch for him to look to go and attack the basket.
This is Eli Kane, guarded by the freshman Gillespie. Strus with 5. He's got a pull. It's the back heel of the rim. Here comes DiVincenzo. Backdoor cut by Brunson. Drives. They're going to call the block. 2-point lead for Villanova. Played nearly 9 minutes here in the first half. Welcome back to Philadelphia inside the Wells Fargo Center. Villanova early 2-point lead over DePaul, and for the Blue Demons, it's been all about Max Strus.
Big reason, and he's scoring from all different areas on the floor, knocking down a 3-point shot, also doing an excellent job moving, cutting without the basketball, making himself available for teammates. He's got 7 points early on. Maric, of course, has had to sit a little bit of foul trouble there for him, but with 2 fouls. But Max Strus has been the guy, and he needs to be the guy if this DePaul team is going to keep up and score with Villanova, 9th in the Big East in scoring. And we certainly know the way that Villanova puts up numbers. And Strus 9 times that he's had 20 or more points. So
he can fill it up.
And he could do it quickly.
Division II transfer from Lewis University out of Northern Illinois. He's out of Hickory Hills, Illinois. He's a junior, and he is certainly giving them a lot of scoring punch this year. It's 1 of 2 for the Wildcats. Here's the freshman Roberts. Drives, pulls up from 11, too strong. Look at the rebound, Pascal. Skies for that one. DiVincenzo now drives, uses the left hand. Paul Reed snags it. Eli Kane. The drive, and call that foul on Colin Gillespie. Gillespie have his seat.
And he's a freshman, and he's a guy who he missed 8 games. Another fractured hand. But he's been back, but he's been impressive. I mean, he's fearless. He does a good job defensively, but offensively, a big shot taker.
Talking about big shot taker. How about Strus? He's now got 10. He's in double figures. Bridges. Brunson has set things up. Now 5. DiVincenzo loses it. Here comes the freshman, Justin Roberts. He'll pull up. Too strong.
Well, Villanova's been going underneath the screens on everyone except Max Strus, and you can see their excellent job coming off the shoulder, creating just enough room and separation, and Strus doesn't need a whole lot of time or a window to get off his shot. Squares the shoulder so quickly. But that's a tough thing, because with the ball in his hands, when he's coming off of a ball screen, he's got the ability to pull up, to shoot it quick. He also can put the ball on the floor, go all the way. He's got an intermediate game. He's really just a very efficient scorer and understanding how to get himself away from his defender.
1-1 for Nova. Spellman misses that one. Here's Strus again, and he's going to let it fly. Phil Booth. Gets the pick from Spellman.
Mismatch inside.
Booth drives and lays it in. Blown defensive assignment there. Cyrus. No. Booth clears the board, and here comes Nova again running. Brunson drive. Oh, that one comes out. Here's McCallum. Air ball. But there is Strus. His follow, no. 3-on-1 for Nova.
A beautiful job running the break by Villanova. They are getting all their points in the paint. DePaul so focused on defending the three-point line, running them off the three-point line. Savvy moves and takes by Villanova.
Another near steal. Spellman almost came up with that one.
Also generating a lot of offense out of their defense. Look at this clear out. ISO at the top of the key, and Booth just blows right by McCallum. And on the break, Booth hands it off and makes it easy for Bridges. But that's what they've been doing, and that's where Villanova becomes so dangerous, because in the half court, they're efficient. They run their sets. They're able to make their cuts and make their reads, but in the open court, they just work so well with the chemistry that they've built with one another.
Here's Pascal. Drives. Dunks it home.
Man, Pascal's playing like a monster. And he's the inside presence that Villanova takes advantage of with his physicality.
6-point lead now for Villanova. Eli Kane nearly lost it. Roberts, the freshman, the dish to McCallum, and he lays it in.
Ooh, that was a pretty pass. And Roberts has got some quickness, and he's a freshman. He's learning. He's going to at times make freshman mistakes, still working on his jump shot and some of his range, but he can penetrate and break you down off the dribble.
Phil Booth knocks down the three. That's the first three by Nova tonight that they've made. Kane airballed it. How about, I'm going to say that's a pass to McCallum. I'm going to give him that one.
Little alley-oop?
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a pass.
Beautiful play.
I'll give him an assist.
Great vision. Oh.
Five-point lead here for Nova. Booth. Brunson. How about that fake? Kicks it over, extra pass to Booth. 3 seconds, and maybe being too generous. 5-point lead for Villanova.
How you like big man Eric Paschal? Uses his size, little push off, then throws it down. Villanova by 5.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. Nova with an early 5-point lead. Hey, look who's sitting here. George Raveling.
Nice.
Sitting courtside, enjoying the game. Well, Phil Booth back for Villanova. First game since January 23rd.
You wouldn't know it. He hasn't missed a beat. He's going to the basket. He is creating, facilitating for his teammates, knocking down a three-pointer, and it looks like he's got his legs under him. We talked to Jay Wright before the game, and he said he was bringing him off the bench, but just going to evaluate his conditioning, his minutes, see how he felt. But so far, from our perspective here on the sideline, he certainly looks comfortable and looks good. And it's a great sight to see, especially also the work that he's doing on the defensive end.
2 of 3. He's got 5 points thus far. Yeah, Jay Wright said he wanted to watch him closely to see how he responds. And if he responds the right way, he can see himself starting this coming Saturday against Creighton. Back in the starting lineup. Here's the freshman Roberts. Cyrus. Blue Demons working around the perimeter. Inside to McCallum, working on DiVincenzo. Spins. Too strong.
But that's a strength of DiVincenzo, getting inside, and then the help of Phil Booth. And it's amazing how well Villanova continues to communicate and rotate on that defensive end when DePaul does get the ball inside on the block.
They give it to Paschal. Working on Cyrus. And they're going to call that block on Cyrus.
And defensively, take a look at this. So Vincenzo bodying up, making sure to hold his ground, but there's Booth. Leaves immediately, come down. You got 2 guys on the ball, makes it a tough, difficult shot for McCallum. That's the little things. That's the recognition of Phil Booth understanding as soon as the offensive player turned around, faced up against the basket, he wasn't going to kick it back out to his man. And those are just heads-up type of plays that you get from an experienced player like Booth that don't always show up on a stat sheet, but allows you to get possessions for your team.
He'll get a blow. Jalen Brunson is checked back in. Paschal goes to the line for the 1-and-1. 85% free throw shooter on the year. Paschal, the junior out of Dobbs Ferry, New Jersey. He's got 6 points thus far. Them both down. Seven-point lead for Villanova. Here's Eli Kane, the floater, got it.
Great job by Eli Kane understanding. Villanova went, sometimes they'll go to that 2-3 matchup zone using some man principles, and they did that there. And what does Eli Kane do? Exactly what you should. Go right to the middle of the floor and find the open area to get a good look at the basket.
Eli Kane, he's a junior. Paschal drives, another block.
And credit to Eli Kane, because Devin Gage, starting point guard for DePaul, ruptures his Achilles the 8th game into the season. Though Eli Kane has had to come in, step into this point guard role, and does a great job. A nice screen there. I didn't even see that by his teammate to free him up. And that's just some good work by this DePaul team on the offensive side. But for Eli Kane, when he can get going, when he can find himself shots, it bodes well for Dave Lato's group. Because he's a guy who, very much like Max Strus, has shown the ability to put up big numbers.
Yeah, if you're DePaul, you need guys like Strus. You would love to see Kane and then Marich, all 3 of those guys to give you some big nights, and then have the other guys kind of fill in. Paschal missed them both. Kane has that one knocked away. Another turnover for DePaul. Good bounce pass by Brunson. And Paschal blew the bunny. Follows up his own shot.
Pascal cleans up what was just a beautiful look by Jalen Brunson. His court awareness and the way he can drop a pass on the dime just continues to be so impressive.
Another steal. This one by Bridges. Gillespie.
Defense turning into offense. But watch this pass by Brunson. And it was a quick catch by Vincenzo. Gets it up to Brunson. Leads the pass to Pascal. And then once again, this time it's Bridges' turn to Gillespie. Draws the foul. Gets himself an opportunity for some free looks from the free throw line as Villanova leads by 7.
Welcome back to Philly. Villanova with a 7-point lead over DePaul. By the way, Jay Wright, 16-2 in his career versus DePaul. And Villanova has owned this series. They've won the last 15 against the Blue Demons.
But it's funny, and that's why Jay Wright is the coach that he is, because we're talking to him and he's like, well, last season and 2 seasons ago, and he knows the scores, he knows the numbers, he knows how tough DePaul has played them. And it's those type of things that keep him with a sense of urgency, regardless of opponent, regardless of the circumstance, situation at hand. Villanova obviously has an opportunity here to win the Big East, their first goal as they continue down the stretch of the season. But every single game he takes with the same type of respect and understanding of how important it is to view your opponent in that way, regardless of what their record may be.
They turn them over again. 9-point lead, their biggest thus far. Booth, 3-on-1. Bridges. They draw another personal on DePaul.
And this three-quarter court pressure giving DePaul some trouble. You see there a disjointed play, not a lot of clean passes, extra efforts by these Wildcats allows them to get it up the floor quickly, advancing the ball. And then Booth to Bridges. They're doing a great job not only getting deflections and creating turnovers, but how efficient they are and opportunistic they are when they can get the open court.
Hannah will have a seat. So far, DePaul has turned the basketball over 7 times, and it's kind of what Jay Wright told us. He said defensively, we're starting to get better.
Well, and he even said that. He said even with those couple of losses prior to the Xavier game, he said our offense is what we were missing some shots. He said defensively, I felt like we were starting to put things together.
Here's Strus, pulls up, got it with a hand in his face.
Yeah, he's impressive. He's impressive because he keeps you off balance. He mixes it up. He doesn't predetermine what he's going to do when he has the ball in his hands.
That's a kick on McCollum.
Take a look right here. I mean, gets a step on his defender, pump fake. Vincenzo is right there. You can't contest a shot better than that. Strus has the ability to elevate, to rise with his release.
Got 12. Here's a 3 by Bridges.
I mean, look at the floor for Villanova. You got 4 players that shoot over 40% from 3. So they cause you to have to look and create help defensively, but it's tough to lead anymore.
The freshman lost it. Another turnover. DiVincenzo uses the left hand. Nearly stolen by Mikal Bridges.
Heavy pressure by Villanova defense. Vincenzo shooting the gap, gets the finish. The Wildcats are rolling, and a big reason is because of the defense.
Halftime report, 4th-ranked Xavier bounces back from their loss to Nova and beats Georgetown. Plus, find out why Seton Hall and Providence won't wrap up until tomorrow. And Duke battles Louisville without Marvin Bagley Jr. So join me and Casey Jacobson at the half right now because, Sarah, back to you.
Let me tell you something. The only thing better than Mike Thrill-Hill is the defense that we've seen out of Villanova.
I was going to say, because there's not many things better than Mike the Thrill-Hill, and this defense has been excellent from Villanova. It's the pressure. It's the getting in passing lanes. They've been pressuring up the court. And also, their backline rotations are so good that allows them to put pressure out on the perimeter and out on the ball. And they've laid us through 4 turnovers in just over the last 2 minutes. And a lot of that has been because Villanova, and we talked about in the early part of the game, Jay Wright, and now he has everyone healthy. It gives them more depth. And in many ways, it allows you to play freer on the defensive side of the ball because you're not thinking so much about foul trouble. You can be a little bit more aggressive. You can take some more risks. And they're doing an excellent job with their communication, especially on the switches.
Here's the freshman, Roberts. 5 on the shot clock. Morris. He's got Brunson, and look at that. They come up with another steal.
Brunson can post you on the offensive end, but defensively too.
DiVincenzo missed that 3.
I mean, Brunson against Marich should be a major mismatch, but look at him using his body, staying low, and the entire time, who is it again? Phil Booth. Yep. Ready to help there early.
Bridges, that one in and out. Nova with 6 steals here. Strus. That's a charge.
It is unbelievable. The ability to get back, to get set, the heads-up play. I mean, this Villanova team is locked in on the defensive end, and it starts with their leaders, with Jalen Brunson, with Phil Booth. DiVincenzo is getting after it. Everyone is moving on a string.
Blue Demons go to a 2-3 zone. Give them a different look here in the last 3 minutes till a half. Pascal from the high post drives. Left it short. Marich clears the board, brings it down. And it's stolen by Pascal. DiVincenzo lays it in.
I am watching that the whole time up the floor, and I think he's passing to Spellman. He fakes out the entire defense, understands that Vincenzo was cutting through the baseline. They've got a beautiful connection and understanding where each other is going to be.
Last 10 possessions, DePaul has turned it over 7 times. Before Grandstaff, Austin Grandstaff, the sophomore, banks that one home. Back to the zone. DePaul.
The zone is extended. They're coming out far and they're trying to extend this Villanova offense.
Here's Pascal. That one's short. Here comes Roberts now with 2 minutes until the half. That's from deep. NBA 3 by Grandstaff. Bridges from the corner, got it.
The last defensive possession, if there's a guy that you want to take a 3 for this Villanova team on the floor, it's Pascal. A player like Bridges to be that wide open in the corner. You got to be aware of where your shooter's at, especially a knockdown one like Miguel Bridges.
Bridges now has 15 game-high score. There's Eli Kane, wide open 3. DiVincenzo with the board. The alley-oop to Pascal, broken up by Marich. Up ahead to Strus. He dunks it home. Back and forth we go. 15-point lead for the Wildcats. Minute to play to the half.
Villanova up. We want to talk about why extra effort. Eric Pascal starts behind the baseline, and he is in a dead sprint. And what does it lead to with that turnover? Whew, pretty fast by Jalen Brunson down to Dante DiVincenzo. But that is all the hustle by a player like Pascal. And he was nearly under the basket. He was the farthest back, but he was on a sprint. If you're the teammates of Marin Maric, you gotta be calling that someone's coming from behind. But talk about just the effort, the energy, coming in and doing some of the little things to help the Wildcats continue to stay in this type of rhythm that's got them up by 15.
Pascal will get a blow. He's got 9 and 4 so far in the first half. It's a point off the season average. Here's Booth. Bridges at the high post. 5 now on the shot clock. Booth will pull up from NBA range. And it is money.
DePaul did an excellent, once again, that's the story of this half. Excellent job in the first 25 seconds of the shot clock. Great movement on the defensive end, but Villanova's just been making some tough shots.
On the offensive end, it's been all Max Strus. He's got 14. The team has got 14. Make it 16 now.
Beautiful quick pass inside, and a great job by March getting such deep position.
But off of Strus, he has not only scored it, but done everything for the Blue Demons in the first half. Nova throws that one away with 4 seconds, 4.9 until the half, and let's see if they can get a shot off from Max Strus. Kane pulls up, and it's off. Nova ends the half on a 19-8 run. Mikal Bridges, 15 in the first half, 12 or 14 for Max Strus. That's in the first half. 46-30 is your score. I'm going to send you to Mike Hill in Los Angeles for the Jeep halftime report right after this. Welcome back to the city of brotherly love as the third-ranked Villanova Wildcats with a 16-point lead over DePaul as we begin the second half. Welcome back inside the Wells Fargo Center. Brian Custer alongside Sarah Kustok. And Kus, you know, Jay Wright told us before this game, now that his team is healthy, he believes they are getting better. And we saw shades of what he talked about in that first half, shooting nearly 60% from the field, and they really got after DePaul defensively.
Unbelievable cohesion. A lot of their offense started with how they generated it from the defensive end, creating turnovers, getting things out in the open court. But for them, it's all about making the extra pass, moving and shifting and rotating the defense. And you can see here everyone with a touch on the ball. Now, DePaul with an excellent game plan coming out of the gates. They wanted to run Villanova off the three-point line. Well, what did the Wildcats do? They got it inside, took advantage, controlled the paint, and that opened up the three-point line for them later on in the half. But just an excellent job of being effective because of their shot selection.
Take a look at the Jeep first half stats brought to you by Jeep Grand Cherokee. Look at the points in the paint for Villanova and also the points off turnover. Villanova in double figures there. They've also caused DePaul to turn the basketball over 10 times. And look, you got Mikal Bridges with 15. Jalen Brunson scored the first 6 points of the game. And then welcome back Phil Booth. He had 8 points off the bench. Here's Nova controlling it here in the second half. They go inside to Spellman. Working on Maric. And how about that? That's a grown man move, lays it in.
What a play by Spellman. Just working, using his body. Villanova stays 4 out. They've got the shooters, so it opens up and isolates the inside for Spellman to use his body and go to work.
First 2 for him. Strus. This is his first shot of the second half. Here's Brunson. Nova work it around. Pascal will pull up from 3. Got it.
Well, I need to be careful what I say, because if you're Dave Later, you're thinking, okay, Pascal, 30% three-point shooter, given the fact that everyone else on the floor shoots 40% from 3. Pascal can knock it down. Shoots with confidence, stepped into that one.
And another steal. Bridges lays it up and in. Dave Lado's going to call a quick timeout. Just like that, that lead has ballooned up to 23, thanks to Mikal Bridges with the steal, the layup. With about a week to play here in the regular season, get you up to date on the Big East standings. Xavier won tonight. You can see Nova trailing them by a game and a half. That's why this game is always important. How about Providence and Seton Hall? That game was suspended with 13 minutes in the second half because of condensation on the floor. It will resume at noon tomorrow. Seton Hall was up 9 with 13 minutes left in that second half, but Desi Rodriguez left the game with an ankle injury. Kevin Willard says he will be out at least a week.
That's significant because Seton Hall has lost 4 of their last 5 games after such a strong, promising start. They've been very inconsistent, and we know Desi Rodriguez is a go-to player for them, how important he is for that team.
Another turnover for DePaul. Nova has started this second half on a 7-0 run. Wildcats have got 8 steals so far tonight. And DePaul not doing themselves any favor by turning the basketball over. And another 3 by Spellman. Largest lead of the night for Nova. Cyrus in the lane, count it.
That's a big-time finish for Cyrus. DiVincenzo giving him some trouble there. Reaches in, loses the basketball, and still deep enough, able to fade away and to finish. Paul looking for something to stop this run, stop this bleeding to start the second half. So for Cyrus, who spent a lot of time on the bench because of foul trouble in that first half, despite missing that free throw, good to see the ball go through the hoop.
First free throw of the night for DePaul. DiVincenzo, the kick out, wide open 3 for Bridges. This is becoming target practice for Nova.
Well, that all starts, though, with DiVincenzo's penetration, because he draws in the defense. The attention is underneath the basket, and he knows exactly where his shooter is at the top of the key.
Bridges game-high score with 20. Here's Strus.
Excellent response. And Max Strus, he's impressive. And he's a big-time player for Dave Lado, and nice for him to know as a junior that he's going to be able to have him back next season as this DePaul team continues to find pieces. They're setting the foundation, the culture of how they want to play. Now it's about continuing to get that type of talent.
17 for Strus. Brunson puts the moves on Cyrus, and he'll go to the line.
And Jalen Brunson, maybe 6'3", 190. He's the best post-up player on the Wildcats. Look at his moves, his footwork. His pivot foot is always on the lockdown. He knows exactly how to create at the end of his dribble. And how fun was it talking? So we're talking to Dave Lado, head coach of DePaul. You ask him about Jalen Brunson.
How do you control Jalen Brunson? And he said,
man, I know him since he was a little kid. Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson, worked for Dave Lado. So he said, this kid, I've known since he was a little guy, running around, playing in the back of my pool. And he said, ever since he was a little kid, he always had a chip on his shoulder. And talked about his smarts, his basketball IQ, but more than anything, his work ethic is what's gotten him to become the player that he is. And his personality is what sets the tone for the personality and identity of this Villanova team.
another steal. DiVincenzo reached in, and he knocks it off of Strus's foot. And here comes Phil Booth. Booth 3 of 4 from the field in the first half, 2 of 3 from distance. He's got 8. We'll give Jalen Brunson a breather. Strus really steals that one. Pascal. Spellman. Nova can't miss.
Spellman does such a great job. We saw that high pick and roll, and Spellman draws the attention rolling. They kick it out to a wing player, but Spellman stays active and hangs around in the middle of the floor because of the way he not only can score around the basket, but shoot.
Spellman blocked that one, but Cyrus lays it in. DiVincenzo will set things up for Nova. He will pull up from distance. That's a brick. Open shot for Cyrus. Got it.
Excellent knockdown by Cyrus, but a great play by McCallum. And that's where DePaul has found success offensively, when they've gotten the ball in the middle of the floor and doing a good job of recognizing where the defense is at on the kickouts.
We'll call that one on Pascal as he dipped his shoulder on Strus. 22-point lead for the #3 team in the country. Hey, Big East basketball is sponsored by Jeep Grand Cherokee. 62-40. So score here in the second half. Hey, what about former great Villanova Wildcats, Randy Foy, 9th all-time on their scoring list. Nearly 2,000 points he put up as a member of the Wildcats, and he is looking at another offensive explosion here by Villanova. This is a squad that's shooting 64% from the field tonight, 53% from three, and look, it is right on what they've been doing this season.
And these are school records of a program that's the caliber of Villanova. And we mentioned this early in the game. Jay Wright said he feels like there was so much room for this team to improve, given the fact that they've had so many injuries. There's so many young players that are now starting to hit their stride. So many of the freshmen in Cosby Roundtree, in Spellman, and Samuels. He said, I feel like this is a fresh start. This is almost like the beginning of the season when you're just amping up to get going. And what better position you want to be at the stretch run of the season.
McCallum lays that one up. Spellman with the block.
And so Villanova just abusing DePaul in the paint in the first half. In this second half, they have been knocking it down from deep. And everyone is getting in on the action.
You know, it's hard, especially like you point out when they can put 4 guys on the court who can shoot over 40%.
You spread you out.
Distance.
And you can't leave anyone. And they can all put the ball on the floor.
And do that. And kill you.
Yeah.
And kill you.
And so it's pick your poison. And it's so tough to be at help side because you don't want to leave a knockdown shooter. And that's where Dave Lato was talking about that. And he said, when you're game planning and scouting Villanova, the thing that jumps off the page is their efficiency. But he said it's not like a Butler or like a Creighton where you're showing your guys 100 sets to run. He said they have a very, in a respectful way, simplistic offense. It's just the continuity and the way in which they read it and the smarts that they have to execute.
Another turnover by the Blue Demons. Dave Lato can't believe it. 14th turnover. Colin Gillespie will check back in. Spellman will have a seat. You see, DePaul averages 13 turnovers a game. They're already at 14.
And that's where it's so challenging if you're DePaul, because as a player, you're locking in and you're understanding you're trying to stop an offensive powerhouse. But then when they're getting after you on the defensive end, That's where it starts to really get under your skin.
Yeah, there's an offensive foul on Bridges. McCallum. Looks like it was more of a cramp.
And watch here, almost maybe a knee knock, or he bumps his leg here. McCallum steps in. I don't know if that was a knee-on-knee collision it may look like, or got knocked maybe a bit of a Charlie horse.
Yeah, McCallum's going to walk it off. Under 14 left here. Here's Strus. Gives it off to Roberts. Back to Strus with 5. And he'll pull. In and out. Pascal. Double pumps and dunks it home.
I didn't know Pascal had that in him.
Power dunk. 14 on the night for Eric Pascal.
What a play by Brunson. Brunson driving the closeout, drop-off pass, and Pascal avoids the block. And man, does he make that look good. I mean, the athleticism of Pascal is impressive. And for a 6'9" guy, a little over 250, also the way he can handle the ball.
Maric. There's the charge. Second one that Brunson has drawn here tonight. Third on Maric.
And you see there Maric. Right into Brunson. Brunson gets set. Brunson takes it. I mean, that's the toughness. Like, that's the toughness. That's the grittiness. It doesn't matter what size someone is. Brunson's willing to give up his body and also just being in the right position.
Booth. That one too strong. Roberts, air ball. Oh! And Strus thought he had the block. They're going to call the foul on him.
You know what I love seeing about this? Phil Booth coming back from his fractured hand. A great pass by Brunson.
Oh!
But you can tell he's playing without any type of hesitation. And just a nice job of leaking out, getting up the floor quickly. And Brunson in particular, but all of these Villanova players, every time they get a rebound, eyes are immediately up and looking to see how they can advance the ball up the floor quickly.
Yeah, you know, how about Sam? They ran right into Sam. He's Villanova grad too.
Oh, is he? So is it just in the blood? Sam Bertini, Villanova, did what Sam probably graduated, what, a couple years ago?
I was just happy he didn't break his hand. You know?
you got to be careful. There's something in the water.
There's something in the water here, Nova. Broken hand.
Sam could probably shoot the three, though.
Loose ball. Tip no by Maric. Man, they've got a lid on there. And look at Booth.
And he's holding on to his eye because it looked like he got hit
yeah.
in the face.
Here's Maric working on Cosby Roundtree and got him.
Whew, there's that footwork again. Very methodical. But he works with his back to the basket. A little bit of a hook shot there, and Maric has been impressive. Now this is a play that Booth gets hit in the face. You see there, he gets the elbow of Reed. He first gets knocked, but watch Reed's left elbow.
Yep.
I can tell my left from right, and you can see.
Poor
Eyes
thing.
swelling up a little.
Brother was like, man, I just got back from a broken hand. Now you're going to hit me in the eye? It's a contact sport.
I hit you, press up. I hit you, press up, go.
They had a lot of clock issues here tonight in Villanova.
Yo, yeah.
You got your stopwatch on you?
I know, really. You got that straight
Lend a
now.
hand.
So 12-12 left in this one.
12-12, 24-point deficit for DePaul. But remember, the Blue Demons are still trying to improve themselves. And for Dave Ladle and his crew individually, you got to try and find a way to piece this game now about goals. So what are you looking at now? 26 points. But can you start to cut this down in the next 4 minutes, by the 8-minute mark? Can you get this down to a 15-point game? What can you start to do? And a lot of it's got to begin with getting stops on this defensive end of the floor, because Villanova has had a lot of open looks from the outside.
Here's Pascal in the lane. Easy money. He's got 16. And March throws it away. We're in the town of the Super Bowl champion Eagles. Fly, Wildcats fly tonight. Welcome back to Philadelphia. Villanova up big over DePaul. And listen, we know Villanova, you know Xavier are going to be a very high seed, probably both at this point 1 seeds in the tournament. But let's talk about some other Big East hopefuls. How about Providence? They'll resume their game with Seton Hall tomorrow. They want to get in. Butler, they beat up on Creighton tonight. Creighton wants to get in. Seton Hall, of course, wants to get in. And, you know, all of these teams, you know, want to get off, let's say, that 11-10 type line in the NCAA tournament.
Well, absolutely. And they are probably now looking at these last few games thinking, can we get 1 more win, 2 more wins? Can we get to that 20-win market? And, you know, this Big East, you look at how good it is top to bottom. And even some of the teams like Georgetown, DePaul, I mean, you look at Providence, loses by 17 points to DePaul. So everyone's kind of knocking off one another. But it's the strength of this league as a whole that oftentimes is an advantage, but it's tough every night out for these teams when they're looking to get those final wins in order to try and make it into the tournament.
Our bracket expert, Howie Schwab, right now has 6 biggest teams in the NCAA tournament if it began tomorrow. Cale Bridges lays it up and in. He's got 24 tonight. He is 8 of 9 or 8 of 10 from the field here. An efficient night from Cale Bridges. Here's March working on Spellman. Goes up and under. Airballed. Brunson. What has he not done here tonight?
I'm running out of words to describe his moxie and toughness and how he's able to use his body to finish off plays on both ends of the floor. And what a finish there by Eli Kane.
Kane's just 4 points on the evening. Brunson's got 9. DiVincenzo high off the glass.
DiVincenzo turned the corner, but you saw how high he elevated to finish that layup.
He's got 8. Paul Reed lays in a bunny. Bridges nearly lost it. Spellman. Red ball, that 10-footer. Kane. It is the block by Bridges on Maric. Bridges loses it. Maric lays it in.
Strong finish by Maric. In that last possession, a great job by Reed, too. After the turnover, it looked like Bridges was going to come in, get things going in transition, to stay with the play and get it back to the other end of the floor for a bucket.
Here's Brunson. Too strong. The freshman Paul Reed. Euro step. It's the bucket.
Paul Reed showing something in these last few trips up the floor. Playing tough defensively, putting himself in the right position, but also what he's been able to do on the offensive end.
Cyrus draws that foul. Brunson. It's a 24-point lead for Villanova. You know, Philly, it's all about hoops, winning Super Bowls, and cheesesteaks. Geno's, Pats, I mean, you decide. I'm not even going to get into that. But here, we got to talk about the Quicken Loans moments of the game. How about Jalen Brunson? He makes a lot of great moments for this Nova squad.
And it's the little things. Taking charges, using his body. Look at that. The defense on the big man Maric on the inside, taking another charge. It's the understanding of where to be on the floor. And it's not only him individually, but collectively getting his teammates in the right place as well. It all starts with his vocal leadership, his communication, talking to one another in really pushing guys to the right spots. But there's a reason why he's in the conversation for the National Player of the Year. And it's not just the savviness that he has on the offense. Yes.
Consistency. 9 points, 5 assists. He's played 27 minutes, just 1 turnover. Leads the Big East in assist-turnover ratio. I know a lot of people were talking about Trae Young, but listen, he has struggled. It's a lot to put on a freshman. This guy has been consistent all year long. As Phil Booth draws a personal, he'll go shoot 2. No one's been more consistent than Jalen Brunson from start to finish thus far, as Cyrus fouls out. You can look at this guy, 6 in the Big East in scoring, averaging 19 a game, 5 assists.
Shooting 42% from the three-point line.
53% from the field. Those Player of the Year numbers to me. And the one thing Dave Lato told us about Jalen Brunson, he said, probably no one who has a better basketball mind than Jalen Brunson. So tough. Talked about the work ethics. Says no one's going to outwork this kid, but that knows that has a great court awareness, and you saw some of that tonight with those drop passes and just knowing where everybody is.
Without a doubt. I mean, look at Phil Booth, and it goes back to the way that Villanova has played so well together tonight. Jay Wright says, you know, our practice the other day, it's not just about having everyone healthy for tonight and for the games. He said, but there was an extra level of energy and just fun of everyone's here. And now when we're running 5-on-5 or running through some of the scouting and some of the things we need to do, so we got everyone, and everyone could play against one another, compete against one another, but it's that type of competitive spirit that he feels like will be able to push this team to another gear now at this point of the season.
Booth got 2 or 3. You know, another thing he's looking forward to just to see how the team would respond. He said, I don't hope they weren't going to, you know, say, hey, Phil's back and it's going to be all good. They have to get after it, and they've certainly done that thus far tonight. But We talked about Player of the Year candidates. We talked about Trae Young, and boy, he has certainly struggled with that losing streak now that Oklahoma is on. But Bagley's missed the last 3 games. He hasn't played.
And that's why it becomes wide open. Because Trae Young, we were talking about so much at the early part of the season, but now the conversation has shifted a bit.
Strus tipped that one in, but I just think that you know, when you look at start to finish and winning,
and that makes a difference. If Oklahoma misses out on the tournament, I mean, how much could that change things?
And Brunson, speaking of, getting ready to check back in. And so will Dante DiVincenzo. Booth. And Gillespie will have a seat. Back to the zone. Go the Blue Demons. Open 3, Brunt for Bridges.
Well, you see there just that smart little screen. Just because a team is in the zone doesn't mean you can't still use some of your man principles offensively to use some screens, and that's what helped free up Bridges on the wing.
27 for Mikal Bridges, one shy of his career high of 28. He had 25 against Xavier. Strus with the putback.
And that's an area where DePaul has been very strong. Their ability to crash the offensive glass. I know that's an area that Jay Wright has talked about wanting to improve at this point of the year. He said 2 areas, defense and rebounding. He said it's getting there, and we're slowly getting better, but that hasn't had the same consistency that he's seen on the offensive end throughout the year. So points of emphasis for his team.
Brunson got it over the freshman. 11 now for Brunson. 4th Wildcat in double figures. Bridges, Pascal, Booth, now Brunson all in double figures. Kane drives, loses it. There's a block by Strus as he hustles back.
Like a volleyball spike. And good pass ahead, but Strus tracking that the whole time. The timing on that, and that too is where Cosby Roundtree will start to understand, you know, plays like that, the understand of someone coming from behind, ability to potentially draw in contact or re-angle himself to go to the other side of the basket to try and avoid that, but in ways be able to have an awareness of someone coming from behind.
Spellman, good from 3. We're under 5 minutes left in this one. Spellman's got 10. Over now with 5 guys in double figures. One-handed board by Spellman.
He snatched that. And Spellman has put in a ton of work on his body, on getting conditioning, lowering his body fat, and you could see it in his movements and in his quickness.
Kane, Maric. Tenth point for Maric. Ball with just 2 guys in double figures. Bridges. That 3 air ball. The great William Penn looking over the city of brotherly love. Villanova up big over DePaul. Oh, yeah, let me tell you something. The Blue Demons could use Sarah Kustok in this lineup tonight. As we take a look at this game summary, it's sponsored by SoFi, rethinking personal finance. And man, I'll tell you, Villanova certainly getting it done. Not only from the three-point line, but from the field as well. Shooting well over 40% from three, 60% from the field. Mikal Bridges at 27.
Well, and you also saw, as we look at Max Strus, and he really has had an excellent evening here tonight. I mean, he's come away, and he's one guy shot well, 9 of 18 from the field, 21 points. But Jay Wright had talked to us about this, and he said at times defensively what he wanted his team to get better at was being cleaner. He said sometimes when you're getting tired or getting run down, that's when you're fouling. And Villanova, as you see, great move there by Marin Maric, has done a great job of being in the right position defensively, and that's allowed them to make sure to keep DePaul off the free throw line. And that's a major aspect of their defense, not just in turning the ball over and not allowing DePaul a lot of looks at the basket, but also keeping them off from the charity stripe.
There's an air ball by Samuels, freshman. Grandstaff and travel by the freshman Roberts. Tom Delaney will come in. Jalen Brunson will have a seat. Tim Delaney, excuse me. Colin Gillespie now will run point for the Cats. Under 3 minutes left in this one. Booth loses that one.
If you're Phil Booth, you got to feel good about your outing here tonight, and hopefully he does. He's played a little over 14 minutes. You get a good run in. 14 minutes, 14 points. He was 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. But it's not just about those offensive numbers, but defensively, what he continues to show, the way he matches up against Max Strus and some of the better perimeter players for this DePaul team.
Some of the walk-ons. Seniors are getting ready to check in for Villanova. As that one's knocked away. Denny Grace, the senior, the walk-ons, is checked in. A nice round of applause from the home crowd. A special night for these guys. It is senior night here. Gillespie misses that three. And Grace, one of those walk-ons. These are the type of guys, a couple hours before the game, they're out there getting that sweat on and running through things. And
I'll tell you what, Brian, these guys are just as important as a Jalen Brunson or a Phil Booth. You see all of them there with their parents.
Yep, Matt Kennedy and
Jay Wright,
Tom
his
Liebig.
family being honored here tonight. But those guys are showing up for practice every day, putting in the work. Preseason, season, off-season. And those are the guys who continue pushing Villanova to get better. And we've talked about different players, rotation players getting injured throughout the season, and those guys are just as integral in practices in helping to push these starters, pushing the players that are getting the minutes in the game to become better, because we know it doesn't just happen on game nights, it happens on the practice floor.
Another one of those seniors, Tom Liebig, checking in here on senior night. Freshman Paul Reed, he dribbles it out of bounds. Jay Wright is emptying the bench now. Matt Kennedy will check in. And you guys, you talked about, you gotta like that, especially for these guys who are seniors and walk-ons and getting the opportunity here. Get a little playing time. Last home game. of the regular season and of their careers. Here's the three. Got it! How about that reaction from the crowd in the bench?
There you go, Danny Grace. That is the gamer knocking down that shot.
Crowd loves it here in Philadelphia. One of the walk-on seniors knocks down the three. Final 30 seconds. Here's Living. He got it.
The bench is going crazy. These guys are going absolutely bananas. Oh, everybody's getting on the stat sheet here.
Yeah. Look at Jalen Brunson. That's a great moment. Great night. And Jay Wright now 411 wins. He is now just 2 away from tying the all-time wins record here at Villanova. 3 away from being the all-time leader. What a night it's been for the seniors, and especially some of these walk-ons here. And Jenny Grace knocks down the three, and then how about Tom Living? He pulls up. He gets one as well. Look at the bench. They love it. Mikal Bridges at 27, Pascal 16, Booth 14, Brunson 11, and Spellman had 10. Villanova gets the victory. And they're now 25-3, 12-3 in the Big East. They win it 93-62. Now to my man, Mike Hill.